morning, everybody. Good to see you. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about the twin transition towards a livable planet and a new era of intelligence. AI, energy transition. So 2 words about Eurelectric, first of all. So I like the way she said it, by the way. Eurelectric. We're electric, you're electric, it's all electric. We're going towards an electric world. Eurelectric is the trade association of the European power industry. 3,500 companies in Europe coming together to talk to policymakers in Brussels, in member states. Trade association, that makes you go, oh God, I should have stayed in bed. We're much more than a trade association. We're a hub for the industry. We do analysis. We bring people together on a mission, like a movement, like Deepak said yesterday, right? To power people to do the transition. This is an image, by the way, it's not from AI. This is an actual photo. When I took over this shop 9 years ago, we did a rebrand in Brussels. You know, this industry can be a bit conservative, a bit dusty. So we took over a very dusty library from the 19th century. We have a few of those in Europe. And we turned it into a disco club with a big laser installation on the wall and pumped it up with a DJ. And that was basically the message to policymakers, to the industry. We're going to be laser focused on transitioning this industry into the 21st century. Going green, going digital, going there for the people. So that's what we do. We have 1,000 utility experts in our working groups looking into topics like digitization, e-mobility, market design, distribution, grids, all that. So how's it been going those last 9 years? Look at that one figure here, ladies and gentlemen, 72%. That is the share of carbon-free electricity in the European power system, 72%. And the European power system is some 3,000 terawatts per year, terawatt hours. So that's a lot of electricity we generate. 49% of that comes from renewables today, 23% from nuclear. So we're very close to finalizing the transition of our own system. Now we want to broaden out that success to all of society by removing fossil fuels from end-use sectors, transitioning them to clean electricity. That is our mission. And we're intent on getting there. 2030, we have bold targets. We're going to deploy in the ballpark of 100 gigawatts of new capacity every year in Europe. And that takes a lot of investment, takes a lot of other stuff to happen too, because it's a pretty complex transition. Now, in the meantime, something else has happened, and that's about digital. I might have woken up to the digital transition quite late. Around 7 years ago, I got really, really passionate about this when I crossed the first reports about artificial intelligence. And I don't want to sound too philosophical here, but I truly believe that we are at a critical juncture. We're at the knee of an exponential takeoff to a new era for mankind, an era of electric intelligence, an era of collective intelligence in a way we've not had before. And what that means for us as a sector, as a society, that's what really excites me and convinces me that we need to go all in on this digital journey. Now, a wise man said, the future is already here, but it's kind of unevenly distributed, and boy, oh boy, can I testify to that. If I look at my own sector, there is a very, very wide spread between the leaders and the laggards when it comes to digital. The biggest companies in Europe have multiple billion transformation programs for digital across the value chain. Some companies have almost nothing. To be fair, they're also very small, some of them. I asked a colleague, what's the smallest company in our sector in Europe? And he said, well, there is in Switzerland a guy who's actually a teacher and he runs the local grid part-time. That's going to be difficult for him to really sort of go all in on the AI transformation, but we need to help those folks as well, right? But the future is here. It's unevenly distributed, and it's our task, together with Deepak and his folks, the utilities, to basically help customers transition into a much more digital future that will help empower them to the benefit of society, of the energy transition. In September, I sat down with all the ministers of the EU. They invited me in to talk about this new era and how they're going to handle it, essentially, because they're facing a very complex challenge landscape. I like to say that my job was difficult 5 years ago when we wanted to go climate neutral. Now we have a war on the eastern flank of Europe. We have affordability crises. We have geopolitical frictions that are politicizing the supply chains for our industry. The world has been getting pretty complex recently. So how to prioritize? Ministers are looking at their objective to decarbonize our society. Transport needs to be electrified. Heat needs to be electrified. Industry needs to be electrified. And now on top, wow, all that electricity for data centers. I'll come back to that in a second. The good news is that it goes both ways. Energy for AI, AI for energy. And I just want to say, on this trip to the US, I've been visiting the Valley, having meetings with Google, Microsoft, our associates across the board. We had a very nice roundtable with Deepak at Stanford University. I've learned a lot, and I've been very inspired by the conference here to see those, let's say, strategies for how to really go all in on AI, go vertical on AI, and develop domain-specific, targeted applications of AI for the industry. Now, here's just a couple of use cases, and I mean, you've heard the past few days. I think there's been very good examples of how we can deploy AI for good, for the good of the sector, for the good of our customers. But I think it is inspiring to see how this technology is fundamentally transforming every aspect of our sector. Whether it's pooling of weather forecasts to bring the best possible foundation for trading, whether it's predictive maintenance or fully autonomous self-optimizing power plants, whether it's in the space of grids with ADMS, with dynamic line rating, new technologies that basically enhance our ability to use the grid to the full, whether it's in markets where by now AI is trading autonomously with no human in the loop, or whether it's in the space of customers where we're seeing a very, very interesting platform coming out of SEW. So there's truly a massive potential, and it's really up to us to leverage that potential for the good of society, for the good of our customers. Now back to the challenge. So you've all heard those wild forecasts here in the US. I was listening to a podcast this morning, The Moonshot, with Peter Diamandis, and he was recounting the plans of OpenAI to invest $1 trillion per year in infrastructure. That's a lot of money. That basically boils down to like let's say 20 billion per week or something. So anyway, in the Europe, it's a bit of a different story, not as wild as over here. But our forecasts are that by 2030, we expect a new country to join the EU in terms of energy demand just coming from data centers. Whether it's going to be a big country like Poland or a very big country like Spain, we